So Final Fantasy XII is popping in, getting some much needed love with Gabranth's debut, the evil brother to Bosch, and Vaans burst and LD dropping. So we're going to be going over if Vaans he's not from the Seven Deadly Sins. If Vaan is burst is worth it to pick up and dig for. We'll be going over Gabranth just a little bit, kind of just like highlighting what he does best, just to kind of talk about him real fast. And yeah, as always, big shout out to the Tom Mary Troop with the lovely infographics that will be displayed in this video. They're a lovely group of people, and if you are not following them on any of the social media platforms, such as their Facebook and or Reddit, or giving their website a check see, make sure you go do so, as they're a lovely group of people and very helpful to the community. Now, so the brand new man himself, Gabranth, the biggest thing Gabranth does is deal half the amount of debuffs, a lot of attack reduction as well. One of the good gimmicks is depending on if the enemy has 4 or more debuffs afflicted to them, his one debuff will actually change to a new one that further drops the attack stat and increases HP damage by 10%, which is really nice. This allows you to open up for even more damage, especially since he's also dropping Max Brave and even dropping defense, so you can even do more damage. Overall, as a DPS unit, Gabranth is actually fairly decent. His big gimmick is just being put on the team to slap some debuffs. So, considering that he does have this niche stick to his debuffing style, it is best to pair him alongside of other debuffers that have minimalistic debuffs but can add on to the pile of what Gabranth can do. His EX Plus allows him to start out the quest with his frame debuffs automatically active on the enemy, as well as turning his EX into a triple executing HP attack with alternating Brave hits in between. What I mean by that is that there are different Brave hits for each different hit, not like alternating. It still does AoE, it still does damage to a single target with some split damage. Overall, Gabranth is actually a pretty good character overall. His damage might not be the greatest in the world, but it's good enough to really warrant what he's supposed to be doing. He is a debuffer above all else, and the fact that he has the damage to boot, as well as increased party utility by increasing HP damage, makes him a very worthy character to pick up and grab. If you are missing a really good debuffer, Gabranth is a great character for you. Overall, though, I would say if you aren't all that interested and you do have other debuffers, he's probably a safe pass. It's not something I will say right now, I don't think he's a character that you really should invest everything into unless he's a personal favorite of yours. Because while he is fantastic, he does have a little bit of longevity issues, especially right now since he doesn't have an LD, has no access to free skills. So you really gotta make sure you're knowing what you're doing with him and kind of managing him as best as possible in the fight. Overall, though, still a fantastic character. He does get an LD in the future, so that's definitely something to look forward to. And yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to Mr. Vaan himself, the brand new burst character. So, what Vaan's LD does, well, we'll talk about that one first because it's always the important one. You always want the LD. Is an 8-hit AoE split damage HP attack with 200% overflow that gives Vaan access to a 3-turn buff called Mist. With Mist active, it gives him access to a free ability every turn for 3 turns. This buff, though, cannot be extended. So even if you use the LD, again, while this buff is up, you will not extend the buff. Make sure you are cautious with that. And the free ability usages do not count for the LD. Make sure you are wary of that. Overall, though, that's not really too much of a problem, considering that you would want the debuff. You want the buff to run out completely in the first place. Considering the Vaan only has 3 usages of his LD in the first place, you don't want to be spamming with it, so it's not really much of an issue in the first place. Overall, though, this helped Vaughn vastly because Vaughn's biggest problem before was the fact that his longevity was awful. He was a very good single target blitz style type of character, and still remains true to that, but now has a total of 9 additional skill usages tossed into his kit, with the addition of 3 additional attacks with his LD. The LD is just a wonder for Vaughn. It is an absolute wonder for Vaughn. Now the burst. Let's go ahead and talk about the burst. The burst is a 12-hit single target HP attack. That can cap up to 349 or 399. Something like that, 399,000, whichever one. I can't quite remember the specific numbers. And all it does is it allows Vaughn to not fall below 20% of his initial brave. So after every single one of his attacks, he'll jump right back up to 20% of his initial brave. Now, that sounds okay on paper, but this is the least enticing burst buff we have seen so far, because it only affects Vaughn. And honestly, the burst itself, while great, it's all single target focused. Honestly, this is the most lackluster burst that we have seen. It's still a great thing because, 6 turns all to Vaughn. And when it comes to single target damage, Vaughn can capitalize real good with that. He really can. Vaughn can capitalize really well. But overall, as something that should be, as something that could be, it's absolutely not. You do not need this burst for Vaughn. It's nice to have, but it's easily the most lackluster burst that we've had thus far. Him being the third one, it's kind of a little upsetting that he's not trying to jump the bar anymore. But hey, it is what it is. A burst is still a burst, but it's not something that you need to dig for. You really just need that LD. Now, if Vaughn is an absolute favorite of yours, and you are planning on pulling for the burst anyway, let's say you don't have a good debuffer, definitely pull in this banner right here. Balthier, while it has fallen off, is still a pretty good character, as well as one of a pretty solid dispeller. But if you're in need of a debuffer, I would say this banner would be for you. Now, if you don't need a debuffer and you already have Balthier, or if you don't care about Balthier, this banner right here is incredible. Lena is still great. Waka is still phenomenal. Locke has fallen off a little bit in terms of a DPS style character and what he is, but is still overall a great unit. But what you would really be pulling into this banner for is just the opportunity to pick up Lena and Waka if you would miss them. They're both still really good. So that's my personal recommendation on which banner you should pull for. It all depends on what you need. But if you need a good debuffer, right here. If you don't need a debuffer, right here, because this banner is still really great. And yeah, there we go, guys. That'll pretty much wrap it up for me on this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hate kind of plugging in like this, but I would like to see some growth. See us grow. So if you like what I do here, if you like me, whatever it is about me that you may possibly like, and you're considering on joining the very small community we got going to help us grow, feel free to subscribe. Join into the little homely community we got going on, trying to build that up, and leave a like if you liked it, and all that jazz, all that stuff. I do this every once in a while. Trust me, I don't like doing it, but hey, I want to see us grow. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.